mark of distinction for our university and our communities. Our programs are community-based. We involve knowledge production that is community-based. We work with community partners to produce knowledge that's relevant to our communities. We educate our students in a global society, and we prepare our students to be critical thinkers, to love knowledge, to seek knowledge, and to relate to many different communities. And therefore, it's very important to us that all students take ethnic studies on this campus. It should be a requirement, and we can lead the nation in setting an example for a new model of engaged, community-based education.
We have Jelani Hendricks, who's a Pan-African Studies major, who's going to speak about it from a student perspective.
Here at CSULA, 80% of the students are of color, so we feel that one class out of the 40 that we are required to take on this campus should be in ethnic studies. We supposedly live in a post-racial society, and I feel that this is the first step of becoming a post-racial society, because ethnic studies breaks down all the barriers with race, class, and gender. So if we want a post-racial society, this is the first step. As you can see, all these students here, we see how important ethnic studies is to us, and we feel that it needs to be mandatory, not just for this school, but for all schools throughout the CSU system.
So we know that the academic units are also tied to the other units on campus, and part of the ethnic studies, part of what established ethnic studies, also established the educational opportunity program. Lou Sport Home is going to speak as a counselor in the educational opportunity program.
I'm just going to read a short statement because I want to make sure that I say what I want to say. So, I'm an EOP counselor. I just want to know who has love for EOP out here? Thank you so much. So, I'm on my lunch break. Put it out there. Okay. So, today I'm speaking as a community member, and most importantly, I'm speaking as a graduate student and a mother of a Cal State LA freshman who is currently taking PAS 180 right now. So you know what? It's good enough for my son. It should be good enough for every single freshman at this school. Every single first-year student should be taking a PAS class or an ethnic studies course. I think that should be mandatory. Okay. So I see all of you beautiful people out here today, and I recognize many EOP students, and I recognize that you guys have come through Summer Bridge. You came through PAS. You took PAS 180 in Summer Bridge. Can I just see who has love for Summer Bridge out here? Okay. And it gave you a chance to expand your critical thinking and your cultural intelligence, and to learn about the struggles of your history, a history of struggle and dignity. You were exposed to amazing teachers like Melina, Kimberly, Penny, Mike Chavez, Dr. Seiler, all these people who taught you with love and with liberation in their hearts. EOP and ethnic studies are sister programs. These programs were initiated by students of my community who had the courage to stand up. Over 45 years ago, we stood up. And we have the courage. We started the free speech movement in Berkeley. We started the Third World Strike at San Francisco State. We stood up for Chicano Studies and EOP at Cal State LA. And we are here standing up today because you guys and we have the courage to demand a culturally relevant education in the most diverse CSU campus. LA is one of the most diverse. And you know, all of you students, faculty, staff, everyone who's here, community, we have the courage to take charge of our education and once again demand ethnic studies. 45 years later, we still have the courage, and we need to defend and promote education that works for the people who are struggling to make a living, okay, for our undocumented youth, for our gang-related youth, for queer youth, for foster youth, for our poor and for our homeless youth. We still have the courage to uplift our families and our communities and to uplift ourselves. Ethnic studies and EOP are transformational experiences, and for the lives of many of us would not be here. We would not be here today if it wasn't for ethnic studies or for EOP. That's why we're here. I just want the students to know that I support you. I support you as a mother, I support you as a community member, as a student, as a staff, and I want you to know that many staff support you. They cannot be here right now, but they support you. You have love for the people on this campus. I want the students to really know that, and that's from my heart. All right.
of the movement that gave birth to ethnic studies, and he's here also to speak.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Carlos Montes, and I'm here in solidarity with the students.
Woo!
Faculty. Our children make ethnic studies a requirement. From what I understand, we're just asking for one class. That is a minimum demand that we should support. As the doctor said earlier, I fought for Chicano studies in the 60s at East LA College. Here at Cal State LA, we had to sit in, we had to demonstrate, we had to protest just to get ethnic studies here at this campus. And it's been a long struggle, and the struggle continues. So I'm here to support you, to continue the demand to expand and stabilize ethnic studies. It is a just demand. The community, you're right, the teachers that I run into in the schools who have taken ethnic studies are important teachers that are teaching our students in the high schools. It is very important to have a well-rounded, thorough education, and ethnic studies has done that. And I'm really glad to see all of you here, and I support the demand. We're going to walk in together, united, to the faculty senate, and I'll be with you all the way. Thank you very much.
Lola Pagomila is a sociology major and a Pan-African Studies minor, and she also wants to speak in favor of making ethnic studies a requirement.
Like Jelani mentioned earlier, we're not living in post-racial America. We're not living in post-patriarchal America. We're not living in post-classist America. And to assert that ethnic studies is not necessary in receiving a holistic and comprehensive education, part of a holistic curriculum, is to assert that what is learned in ethnic studies is no longer necessary in receiving that. That information is obsolete. From the time of our early youth, we are indoctrinated and given information that is not essentially progressive for us, if you understand what I'm saying. The information that we receive is information that is not going to help build a nation that is post-racial, help build a world, a global society that is progressive and that understands pluralistic perspectives, a pluralistic comprehension. So what we need to do is to make sure that we keep it. We need to make sure.
Take your time, girl, take your time.
I'm very passionate about this.
Take your time, take your time.
I would not be here if it was not for Pan-African Studies.
Say it. Yeah. Come on, tell us.
I came into this university as a biology student, not knowing what I was doing, pre-med, just doing what I was supposed to do, what was told by my surroundings, people told me to do. When I was introduced into a curriculum that actually addressed the issues that I understood needed to be addressed in this society, I felt like that's where I needed to be. And I know so many students feel that same way, that they learn something that can help them grow not only and get a job, but in their lives, their minds, to uplift them as people. So this curriculum is not only imperative in receiving a holistic and comprehensive type of education, but it's imperative if we're ever going to progress as a society, if we're ever going to move the world to where it needs to be. So we don't live in post-racial America, we don't live in post-patriarchal America, and we don't live in post-classist society. This needs to be acknowledged, and the information that you receive in ethnic studies is the information that you will need to acknowledge such.
That's right, Lola.
Hi everybody. First of all, thank you all for coming out. My name is Lawrence Gandara. I'm an English major. So I'm an English major with a minor in Chicano Studies. You know, just to resonate the same narrative with a lot of the students here, ethnic studies did save my life. I'm one of the first in my family to attend a university. I'm looking to graduate within a year, if not less. So that's really a big accomplishment. And I own it a lot to ethnic studies. It really changed my life. But just to put things into perspective, how many of you are students? A lot of you are students, right? Put your hands up. How many of you are workers, student workers? How many of you are single parents? How many of you are going to get affected by the decision that these senators are making? How many of you heard that first Senate meeting when the motion was presented as students? How many of you got heard? No hands went up. No hands went up. Students did not get heard that day, and it's crucial for our education for us to make sure that the democratic process includes those who are going to be affected. So I want to make sure and reiterate that, keep reiterating that the whole system here needs to be democratized, that ethnic studies is crucial. We are more than 80% people of color on this campus, and that we need to have a valid say in how our education is structured. So I encourage everyone to be here, get involved, and take some type of action to make sure that our future is solid, built on a strong foundation. Thank you very much.
So we have about 4 minutes until we need to be up in the Academic Senate meeting, so I'm just going to say a couple of words before we all go up. My name is Melina Abdullah. I'm the chair of Pan-African Studies at Cal State LA. And I'm really excited and encouraged by all of the student, faculty, and staff presence that's here to fight for ethnic studies as a required class for all students at Cal State LA. We believe it should be a requirement because we know that it does a couple of things. One, it helps to address kind of the lopsided way that our students are taught in the K-12 system by giving them a knowledge base that's inclusive of all people, of people of color, right? And so we need that. But it also embraces a pedagogy that leads to student success. We know that students who take ethnic studies classes perform much better not only in the ethnic studies classes, but in all of their classes. So that leads to higher retention rates, higher graduation rates. Many people talked about Cal State LA as having more than 80% students of color. We know that for the first time this year, we're actually more than 90% students of color. And so with that, shouldn't we be learning about them ourselves, and shouldn't we be teaching students in a way that allows them to connect their lived experiences to the intellectual pursuits of the classroom? Finally, ethnic studies is not just about, Dr. Maulana Karenga, one of the leaders of Black Studies, talks about there's a huge difference between studying ethnic and ethnic studies. We take an approach that seeks to engage ourselves with our community. We understand that we were born because of community struggle, we live because of community struggle, and our research and teaching needs to be connected to the communities that we work with and that we're a part of. And so all of us are demanding that Cal State LA acknowledge this and embed us and entrench us into the education that all students will receive. So we're headed up now to the Academic Senate meeting. This is our third try. And it's our hope, right? Third time's the charm. It's our hope and it's our intention and it's our desire to make sure that those who serve on the Academic Senate hear us, that they hear the voices of the students, that they hear the voices of the community, and all of these folks who continue to struggle to make ethnic studies a part of what we do, and a part of who we will become as leaders in higher education at Cal State LA. Thank you all for coming.
What do we want? Ethnic studies! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Ethnic studies! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Ethnic studies! When do we want it? Now! Woo! Students united will never be divided! Students united will never be divided! Students united will never be divided! Sometimes
we need to, we need to work with expediency to get GE through so we can convert, right? I mean, I'm part of a department that is trying to be one of the early adopters and get our program modifications in by March. Now, furthermore, I'm not an ethnic studies faculty member, but I